there. Let's go straight into this conversation now. The D.G. Murray Trust says the recent liquor legislation changes put up by the Kannaland Municipality poses a serious threat to public safety. The Trust is objecting to the extended trading hours introduced by the municipality and have turned to the courts for a solution. Let's find out more now from David Harrison, who is the CEO of the D.G. Murray Trust, who joins us virtually from Somerset West this morning. David, thanks for your time. A fascinating story developing there. Why did the D.G. Murray Trust believe it was important to take this on?
Well, thanks very much, Marcel. The later into the night that liquor is allowed to be sold, the more the number of murders, sexual assaults, and traffic vehicle accidents. That relationship is very well established. Now, in the Western Cape, municipalities have the right to set their hours of opening. Kannaland had what we regarded as fairly reasonable bylaws in place. But from the 1st of March, they extended their hours of opening for all liquor outlets on consumption, in other words, where people could drink at the point of sale, to 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, we know that alcohol is associated with 50% more murders between midnight and 4 o'clock in the morning than it is at any other time of the day and night. So we understand the importance of the alcohol industry. You talked about tourism just before this. Kannaland is a beautiful municipality. It's picturesque. It's got great tourism potential. We need to recognize that. But we also need to understand that when people drink too much, it becomes the harms far outweigh the benefits. And the people that are disproportionately affected are women and children. And so that's why we took Kannaland to court.
And just for those who do not know, the Kannaland Municipality finds itself on the Garden Route, indeed one of the most beautiful parts of the world, but also just an ordinary South African community. What have you heard from the people and the residents who live there in the run-up to these changes in legislation? Has it been an issue around alcohol use and abuse and the social ills that come with it in that area?
Well, the first we got to hear about it was once the bylaws had been promulgated. Since then, we have heard from community members. We've heard even from wine farmers who have said they understand that this is a balance. They understand that they have to make a living, but they are also concerned about the rates of fetal alcohol syndrome, that's alcohol affecting children in the womb, the rates of traffic accidents, and particularly the rates of drunk driving in their community. So they're willing to engage. They're willing to find a solution that works, that is consistent with the best global and national evidence of what is this fine balance between supporting business on the one hand and preventing the harm of alcohol on the other.
Have you reached out to the municipality? Surely you can't make changes like this without consulting with broader residents and not just the businesses who get to make more money out of a change like this.
Well, that was one of the issues, was that it seems like there was not a consultative process. It's the responsibility of Kannaland Municipality to engage with their community. And one of the reasons why we took them to court is we could find no evidence, and it's been supported by our conversations with community members since then, that there was not a proper process of consultation. They weren't engaged with. And that's why we wrote to the Kannaland Municipality before we took them to court and said, look, you seem to have acted unilaterally here. You haven't consulted. We can tell you based on best evidence that what you're doing is bad for your community. So please retract. Please just suspend those and let's have an engagement. They chose not to engage. We then took them to court. And what has transpired this week is that a court order has been issued, but let me say by mutual agreement. So Kannaland Municipality has come to the table and said that they will suspend their new bylaws. And so we do have room to talk now.
This is the kind of thing we spoke a lot about during the COVID-19 lockdown and the booze ban that came with it, and that we don't live in a police state. You don't want to have government or local municipalities telling adults what they can or cannot do. But the reality of the matter is that too many of our communities do have a problem with alcohol abuse and all of the socioeconomic issues and domestic issues that come with it. Do you think that we take that seriously enough?
Well, alcohol is associated with 40% of murders in South Africa, 60% of murders of women, 55% of traffic vehicle accidents. That is that is an extremely high percentage association. We as a society drink twice as heavily as the global average. So we've got an alcohol problem. We know where it comes from. It's steeped in our historical past. It is a feature of apartheid. We know the DOP system in the Western Cape, where people were paid in liquor. We know that alcohol was sold in townships to actually finance the Bantustan development. So there are patterns of heavy drinking in this country that have to be turned around. And we know from international best practice that they can be turned around.
Absolutely important and powerful point that you've made there. Just one final one before we go. Is this legislation change in Kannaland the only one that you know of that has pushed those drinking hours until 4 o'clock in the morning? And do you think whatever comes out of this could be used as a precedent going forward?
So it is the most egregious. It is the most extreme. But there are some municipalities that have allowed, for example, nightclubs to be open until 4 o'clock in the morning. The Western Cape policy now is to try and reduce trading hours, because we've been able to model and show that if outlets were closed at midnight, we would save 20,000 intentional injuries a year, save 1,500 lives. Now, maybe we won't get a 12 o'clock closing time, but we've got to find something between 12 and 4 that is a reasonable balance between the needs of business and the growing and exponential harm that occurs after midnight.
David Harrison is the CEO of the DG Murray Trust, joining us virtually there from Somerset West in the Western Cape. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Very, very important point of discussion.